Do you ever find yourself completely overwhelmed with finding out about what's going on in the nation, in the world? Media exposure can be a really challenging topic for highly sensitive people in particular. So if you find that it's just overwhelming sometimes to the point that perhaps you find yourself bursting into tears or having trouble sleeping at night, feeling very anxious in response to this, or perhaps just completely shutting down where you absolutely feel you cannot take in the least bit of information about this. It's totally understandable. It's can be challenging for anyone, and highly sensitive people are certainly going to be very affected by some of the things that are going on in the world. So the thing is that your balance and your purpose are so vital to this world that so clearly needs the healing visionary gifts that highly sensitive people often feel moved to offer, often feel that that's why they are here. And having the balance that you need so that you can be at your best, so that you can really move forward and have greater and greater positive impact in the world. That's absolutely crucial to all the shifts that this planet is going through. So, the thing is that even though we may have a very strong need to not hear or desire to not hear about any news, it is also some helpful information to a point. And to know that you are an empowered person who can find out that information and be your loving, empathetic self without falling into overwhelm, crying jags, lack of sleep, or uh, gut stress, any other ways that this might affect you, there are four keys here to help you in mastering your intake of media exposure. And so being very deliberate in your timing. So first waking up in the morning, turning on the phone and having some things come on your screen or scrolling to see, right? You're still in a particularly impressionable stage. So first thing in the morning, as well as shortly before going to sleep, right? Those are the worst times. You want to choose a time where you are fully present, you're in a more grounded state, you're you're ready to interact with this energy and information. Another helpful piece here is what form, what medium you're taking your news in. So, right, there's video showing something that's going on. Okay. You might listen to some podcast. You might be having a conversation with somebody who gives you this kind of information. You might be reading it, hard copy, on screen. Okay. These can be very different experiences for you. So if you consider what each one is like for you and which ones you find yourself sort of automatically or more strongly reacting to, then you might want to go for the ones that feel more neutral. Now, video form is certainly likely to be the most immersive because you've got sound, you've got visual, and also the larger the size of the screen where you're seeing that, the more impact that may have. So that's likely to be the one that moves you most strongly toward the overwhelm. For some, audio, right? Just hearing the sound, that might not be too reactive for you. However, there are podcasters, news broadcasters that can have a lot of charge, a lot of emotion in their voice. So that certainly could add more intensity to your experience of the news. If it's someone you're talking to, getting news from, right, you want to be quite selective about who that is, knowing what their delivery style is like, how neutrally overall, it's not that we don't have feelings, there's nothing wrong with having feelings, but in fact, it's one of the great gifts of being human. But to consider, okay, if you're going to get your news from somebody you know, who or which people would be the best candidates for that. And for myself, I find that reading something, it's much more manageable for me. I don't feel sort of sucked in, especially if it is hard copy. But there are also screen sources that can um, I don't know, have less charge in there. Okay, for myself, I clearly find that the most manageable way to take in that information. Now, the intention that you have for why you are tuning in some way or another to find out about this news, that's really key. And you actually can come from a place of greater empowerment where your focus is as a a force of your own, a conduit of healing energy, positive energy to flow through in whatever way is for the highest good for this situation. And we know through quantum physics that time and space are actually ultimately an illusion. And so you can have a powerful positive impact in the more of us that hold these intentions without trying to micromanage, I would say, without having our human filters construct that this is the way, this is the right way. We have a often, right, a preference, an opinion of what we think is the right way, but that we're really holding that powerful space of allowing, supporting, intending that the highest good support, that the highest good results occur. So being very clear about what your intention is around your interaction with news and what is the empowered place that you would like to hold. I'm giving you an example here of where I stand with that. Am I always in that place? No. Do I need to have some limits around the amount of time as well as the when and in what form I take in my experience of news. Absolutely, 100%. And it's also key to understand that we may have certain baggage, certain prior conditioning that we bring to our experience of that news that can bring a lot more emotional charge in certain kinds of situations. And this is a powerful opportunity to shift, to truly rewire beliefs that are in the subconscious that are holding us back from having and supporting and creating better experiences. So, if you'd like to find out more about that limiting belief rewiring, please check the website link that I have in the comments here. And I want you to know that however you're experiencing the news, however you're exposed to that at this time, it's not wrong. And responding however you do to it is not wrong. But that you do have choices and that there are choices that may increase the empowerment you experience around this topic that can be quite challenging, especially with all that is going on, all that is coming up for healing in the world right now. So I'd love to hear your comments on this. And if you have found this of interest to you, please be sure to like and subscribe. You'll be notified of my next in this series on secrets to balance and purpose for highly sensitive people. So thank you so much for being here and for being you. Namaste and many blessings to you, my friends.